Good evening, dear teacher. In this video, I'm going to analyze the parts of journal article. This is the journal article that I choose. It's important to know that a journal article is a written document that has the objective of communicating the results obtained from a research. This document is written by experts in some branch of knowledge. In this journal article, we can find in the preliminary section the name or the title of this article. In this case, it's perception on the internal factors influencing EFL learning, a case of Ecuadorian children. Then we can find the names of the authors. In this case, we have 5 authors, and I'm sorry. And it's very important that all the authors are included in order of how they have contributed to this document. We can find that all these authors belong to Universidad Técnica Particular de Loja. Another very important information that we can find in the journal article is the volume, the number, and also the year of publication. Here we can find the pages of this journal article. Then we have another section that calls abstract. In this section, this section is very important because here is the summary of the main points of the research. Here we can find the method, we can find all the findings and the conclusions. And this is characterized by being a paragraph of at least 150 words and maximum 250 words. In this case, we can find that the methodology that this research used was a mixed method because they use a qualitative and quantitative materials such as questionnaires, on-site observations, and also interviews. Here in the abstract, we can find the results. In this case, the authors says that results evidence that according to the participants' perception, motivation decreases depending on the student's age and the type of skills. This is the results that they get. Then we have the keywords. In this part, and this part is very important because allow researchers and databases to find the article more easily. And it's very important to note that after the list of keywords, there is not final point, as you can see. Then comes the introduction. Then comes the introduction part. This part we have is a summary about all the topics and all the information that researchers find the methodology, and also here we can find in these sections the authors describe the problem addressed. In this case, the problem is the internal factors that influence the learning of English as a foreign languages and EFL in the southern region of Ecuador. Yeah, that's it. What is the problem that they want to address? Then we have here also we can find some studies that another researchers made. In this case, we can find that another research was conducted in North America and Europe. Then we have what is the objective of this study? In this case, they say that they analyze the students' and teachers' perceptions on internal factors such as motivation, anxiety, willingness, self-efficacy, and memorizations. Yeah, this is the main objective of this study. Then we can find the research questions. In this case, are two. Then we have the literature review. In this section are very important because we can find the theoretical support of previous studies and that have a similar topic. And also we have in the review, the literature review, we have some important issues that allows us to understand the subject in a deep way. And it indicates why this research is very necessary and how it will contribute to the expansion of the knowledge. In this part, we have many subtopics. We have some subtopics that help us to have a very better understanding about this problem that the research address. Then we have the section of previous studies. In this part, the authors mentions many studies that another authors made about a similar topic and help them to validate this research, their research. Then we have the method part. In this part, the authors describe the sampling. In this case, they made a very deep, very descriptive part about the sampling. In this case, they mentioned that the participants were 8 English teachers and 257 EFL students from a class who were purposefully selected. And here the authors mention all the participants that help or contribute to the research. Then we find the instruments and materials. In this case, we found that the authors used questionnaire and a structured interview and on-site observation and observation checklist. The questionnaire was about students' motivation, anxiety, willingness, self-efficacy, and memorization when learning English skills was administered to students from first to fourth year of elementary education. The structured interview was applied to aid the English teacher in order to identify their perception on the internal factors that influence EFL learning. And the observation checklist contained 5 sections with 3 items each, in which the researchers had to register the aspect related to a student's attitude in the classroom. As you can see, here we mentioned all the instruments that help us to collect the information or the data. Then we have the procedures. In this part, the authors describe how the data collection was carried out. Yeah, and for example, here the author says that the participants were asked to complete the questionnaire, the teachers were interviewed to gather information about the internal factors that affect their EFL learners. The researchers were in charge of observing 8 English classes in order to verify the real situation of the students in the classroom. Yeah. Then we have the findings. In this part, the authors, analyze all the database that they get. Yeah, from the questionnaire, the on-site observation of the observation list, and also of the information from the interview. Yeah. Then we have the discussion part. In this, the authors mentioned how it was carried out the investigation. Then we have the conclusions. In this part, in the conclusions, as we can see in the conclusions is the authors write the final reflections on the project that they found. Here the results obtained from the investigation are summarized. Yeah, okay. Then we have the references. In this part, in this section, we can find in alphabetical order the names of all the authors cited in the text. In the APA style, academic sources such as books, magazines, web pages, and another resources have their own format. For example, in this case, we in the first resources, we can notice that it's come from a magazine because we have the author's last name, and then we have the year of publication, the name of the article, and the name of the magazine, then the number and the issue, and also the pages. Here we can find many resources that the authors use to support their research. Yeah, for example, we have journal articles, books like this. This is an example of books. Then we have magazines like this. We have also journal articles like this. All these are academic resources that help us to obtain reliable information for our research. Thank you very much for your attention.